Most experts agree that Governor David Paterson is politically vulnerable next year, but so far, only one candidate has officially declared that they're running to take his job. Former Congressman Rick Lazio is a Republican candidate for governor. Many of us best remember Mr. Lazio for his 2000 run against Hillary Clinton for the U.S. Senate. Congressman Lazio, welcome to Good Day New York.
Greg, great to be on again.
Big news last week. Rudy Giuliani, who has said on this program several times that he is thinking about running for governor, word reported in the New York Times that he has ruled out a run for governor. My question to you, have you talked to Mr. Giuliani about his political plans?
I have not. And as far as I know, the mayor has not really said categorically what he's doing. There just was reports from unnamed sources. So I think we need to give him time to sort of make his public statement. But I'm very confident in the end that he'll be supportive of my candidacy.
Will it be easier for you? Obviously it would be to run without Rudy Giuliani to contend with in a primary.
You know, Greg, honestly, when I started thinking about running, it wasn't based on who I was going to be running against. You know, the state has such dire problems, the worst fiscal problems probably in the history of modern New York anyway, and the people deserve to have a proper debate. I never really was wringing my hands worrying about, you know, who the opponents were going to be on either side, either Democrat or Republican side.
Really? I mean, a little bit. You're a professional. You've run a lot of campaigns. You know what it's like. This is a tough game. The idea of your competition didn't factor into your deliberations?
Not that it wasn't at all, but I'm at that point in life after having a career in the public sector and a career in the private sector where I just want to bring my experience to help New York. I see a dire problem that New York faces, and I'm stepping up to try and address these problems and engage New York in a debate. I think they deserve that. I think they want that.
2002, Andrew Cuomo. Let's take Mr. Giuliani out of the equation for a moment. He ran for statewide office. He ran for statewide office again in 2006. Andrew Cuomo, a lot of people think he's a front runner for the Democratic nomination. He might be your opponent someday. Since 2000, you haven't run for office. You've kind of been on the sidelines. How do you go up against somebody like Andrew Cuomo?
I wouldn't call it sidelines, by the way. It just means I've been
You've been in private practice.
I've been in private practice, right? I've been in the private sector, which is where most of New York is. And, you know, I think New Yorkers are not looking for somebody in the political class. I think one thing that this past November proved is that people are very skeptical about incumbents that are not delivering for them, not focusing on jobs, not focusing on tax relief, not living within our means. We've got a state that's completely out of control. It's a fiscal train wreck. It's an ethical train wreck as well. The New York Times called Albany a swamp in a recent editorial. Couldn't
they have written that editorial 10, 15, 20 years ago? I mean, we were talking about the culture being dysfunctional in Albany. I mean, since Albany, essentially.
It's never been as bad as it is right now, Greg, without a doubt. Did it happen overnight? It didn't happen overnight. But when you're looking at a 3-year, $45 billion deficit that was exacerbated by a budget that didn't need to be signed by Governor Paterson, didn't need to be passed by both houses of the legislature, and now you're looking at the fiasco of stalemate where every day and every week that goes by not solving the problem, by trying to avoid political responsibility rather than stepping up and focusing on the next generation, we're making the solutions that much more difficult.
Again, Rudy Giuliani, worried, not worried? Your thoughts?
No, as I said, I've never been worried about who we're running against. What I worry about is, will the people be engaged enough during this next election? Will they be sending a message, a mandate, that the path that we're on right now is unacceptable, that we want more jobs because we want our kids to stay here in New York, we want our property taxes lower, and we need a complete sweeping overhaul of Albany. Ethics, fiscal situation, basically the entire thing.
Rick Lazio, thank you very much
for
coming by. We'll keep in touch.